Hey there, Mrs. Williams here, and this is question 12.CS.1. It says Nancy is reviewing her November credit card statement. Her beginning balance was $595 and she made a $175 payment on November 10th. She made a purchase of $100 on November 5th, $110 on November 15th, and $55 on November 30th. Her APR is 18% and the interest was charged using the average daily balance method, including current purchases, which considers the day of a charge or credit. Answer parts 1 through 5. So I have part 1 and 2 on the screen. Part 1 is asking you to find the unpaid balance on November 30th before interest is charged. So to do that, you want to start with the unpaid balance from the previous month, and then add any purchases and subtract any payments made during the billing period. And then in question 2, it says, assuming a 30-day period in November, find the average daily balance. And I made this chart because this will help us actually answer questions 1 and 2, parts 1 and 2. So what I've created on the screen is basically a breakdown of November, and what I'm indicating in the balance column is what the balance was on these days of November. So to start out the month, it says her beginning balance was $595. And that was the same. It didn't change. Her balance was $595 on November 1st, November 2nd, November 3rd, and November 4th. So on the 1st through 4th, the balance in that account is $595. On November 5th, she made a purchase of $100, and so that's a positive $100 increase. So I'm just showing the daily amount that changed in this column, and then I added that to the previous balance of $595. So now in her account, she owes $695. And that is on November 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th. On the 10th, she made a payment of $175, and so I'm subtracting $175 from the balance on her account, and we end up with $520. So $695 minus $175 leaves us with $520. And then the next thing that occurred was on November 15th. She purchased something for $110, so that's going to increase the amount in her account that she's going to owe to $630. And that will be what her daily balance is on days 15 through 29 of November, because the next purchase didn't happen until November 30th. Oh, and hang on, there's an error there. That should be $55, not $555. Okay, so let's see if that looks better. So her payment, or the item that she bought, was $55 on November 30th. And this number right here, because what we're doing as we go along through this chart, and you don't have to have a chart to do this, you can do this by hand, but what you're wanting to do to find the unpaid balance is you're wanting to start with the initial amount at the beginning of the month, which was $595, and add any payments, which are the 110, 155, and subtract any, or excuse me, did I say payments? Purchases. 110 or 100, 110, 55 are the purchases, and subtract off any payments. So subtracting off the 175. Well, that's what we've done to arrive at this $685 mark. So that would be our answer for number 1. And again, you don't have to have a chart to do that, but I was organizing my work for question 2 anyway, so it works out nicely that that actually is an answer on the chart, if you choose to do it that way. And then for question 2, assuming a 30-day period in November, find the average daily balance. So we've already talked about these 2 columns. In this column, what I've shown is the number of days in that had this balance. So there were 4 days in November that had the balance of $595. There were 5 days in the month of November that had a balance of $695, and then 5 days that had a balance of $520, and so on, for a total of 30 days in November. And by the way, for example, if I want to find the number of days quickly here, I can subtract 29 and 15, but that, if you do that, that'll only give you 14. So then you want to add 1, because when you're counting, it leaves out a day if you subtract there. So you actually want to remember to add that extra 1 there if you subtract the days of the month, to give you the actual number of days that carried that balance. You can see it easier. Count on your fingers 1 through 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 had 4 days there. If you just subtract 4 minus 1, you only end up with 3. So just be careful on the number of days. And then the total that I have in the last column is the total for those 4 days. So I've just taken the balance times the number of days, and that is what is arriving in this total column over here. So the 2,380 is 595 times 4. So that's where the 2,380 comes from. So you just do that for each time the balance changes. Just take that new balance, multiply it by the number of days that the balance was carried through in that month, and then add those all up. That's going to give us our grand sum total for the month. And then you can use this formula to calculate the average daily balance. So we're going to take the sum of the daily unpaid balances, and that's why we added those together. That's the sum, and divide by the number of days in the cycle. And it's told us, which we could figure out too, but we know that there's 30 days in November. So we divide these two numbers, and this $619.67 is our answer for part 2, the average daily balance. Now part 3 says calculate the interest for November. So we want to start by finding the monthly interest rate, and this formula will help you do that. So you want to take the annual percentage rate. It told us the APR, the annual percentage rate, is 18%. So we're going to take that 18% and write it as a decimal. So we want to write it as 0.18. Divide that by 12. And then that will give us, it does say, give us a little bit of advice there that we want to round that to 4 decimal places, so we don't get too much rounding until we are all done with our problem. And so that's approximately, this one turned out exact, not all of them do, but this one didn't have anything after the 5. If I did, I would want to make sure to round to 1 more decimal place, but I didn't have that in this particular problem. I could put a 0 there, but I don't have to in this case. And then we want to use the interest formula. Interest equals average daily balance times the monthly rate. So remember, the average daily balance was what we found in step 2. That was $619.67. And we want to multiply that by the monthly rate. And that's what we just found from the first formula. So this amount here is the monthly rate. So we're going to go ahead and multiply that by $619.67. And that gives us, it does say round to the nearest cent, so I come up with 6.295. That 5 means we're going to round that 9 up, and if I do that, I need to round the 29 up to 30 cents. And that would be our interest for November. On to part 4. It says, what was the unpaid balance for November after interest is charged? So to calculate this, you want to add the interest for the month of November, and that's what we just found in part 3, to the unpaid balance before interest, and that's what we found in part 1. So the have to select the right tool there. the interest for November was what we just got done calculating, the $9.30. And in part one, we found that the unpaid balance before interest was $685. That was the part where we took the previous balance and we added in all the purchases and subtracted out all the payments. And so that is going to give us our unpaid balance for November. So just the previous balance plus the interest is really what we're looking at here. So $694.30. Okay. For part 5, it says if Nancy's account instead used the unpaid balance method, calculate the finance charge and the new balance for the month of November. The formula for finding the finance charge is given below, so use this one for the finance charge. Remember, the unpaid balance method uses a finance charge based on the unpaid balance from the previous month. So we're going to go ahead and use the finance charge formula here, and you want to take the unpaid balance, which is what she ended with from the previous month. So from October, she had $595 that was unpaid. And the monthly rate was part of what we calculated in part 3. That was the 0.015. So if we multiply those together, that gives us a finance charge using the unpaid balance method of $8.93 for that month. Then it also asks you for step 5 to calculate the new balance. So to do that, use this formula. You want to take the previous balance, so $595 again was the previous balance from the previous month. The finance charge is what we just calculated, $8.93. We had purchases of $100, $110, and $55. And then we want to subtract the payment that she made of $175. And our new balance for the month of November using this unpaid balance method is $693.93. Okay, it's supposed to be a 9. And so that would be, you actually enter 2 things for part 5 there, the finance charge and the grand total.